Strange headlights, Steve and Chris, they're gonna fly. No stone unturned, the facts alive. Bigfoot story now defined. Footsteps here and shadows there. In the woods they do prepare. Concerts are like rain. Bigfoot secrets shown today. Sunday night of fire sunshine. Sunday night of sunshine. Swan seeds, it's time to shine. Sunday night of fire sunshine. Sunday night of fire sunshine. Squatter is always time to shine. Squatter is always time to shine.
Welcome to Squatch-D TV, where the truth is first before all else. Join your hosts, veteran investigator, TV personality, and author Steve Kulls, and from the Kentucky Bigfoot Research Project and the Kentucky Fried Fixes channel, Chris Bennett. Sit back and prepare to take yourself on a journey with the longest-running Bigfoot podcast, Squatch-D TV. Here are your hosts, Steve and Chris.
And good evening, cyberspace. Welcome to Squatch-D TV for today's date, September 22nd, 2024. I'm your host, your guide, the Squatch Detective Steve Kulls, along with my long-standing co-host, Mr. Chris Bennett. What's up?
Oh, Steve, man, it's good to see you. I hope you're feeling a lot better than I am, because I am really beat after this week.
Yeah, I know that tractor. It's Chris versus the tractor. The tractor seems to have gotten the best.
The tractor adventure was exactly that, and it about beat me to death. But, I'm still recovering from it, but, I wouldn't change a thing. I would do it all over again. If somebody said, hey, you want to go get a tractor tomorrow? I'm in.
Now, there's been a lot of commentary on our new intro music and our new intro. People seem to be having fun with it, which I like. Now, one thing you guys will not know out there in Chatland is that Chris and I, can always see each other. Chris is when we set this platform up, Chris's second chair is another chair, so he can see everything that I can see backstage and whatnot. Whereas if you're a guest and you come on, you can only see what's going on the main screen and yourself. Right. And so when the music is playing, Chris and I usually both the intro and the outro. And if you listen to the outro, every once in a while, you'll hear me come off a mute and go, ba-da-ba-ba-ba. You'll hear me ad-libbing. And this is something we've done with the outro for the better part of like 6 months. Yeah. But during the intro now, Chris and I break into these chair dances. And as it's going on, Chris and I are like,
it's Sunday night disco time, man.
Yeah, we're having fun with it.
Disco.
We don't care what people say. We're having fun with it.
That's right.
Whereas, we love the country one. I love the punk rock one. I've loved all of them that I put on there. I'm very eclectic in my music taste. Yeah. And the disco one is just a lot of fun.
You never know. Yeah, we'll keep this around for a little while. You never know what'll be next.
Until something new comes to amuse the two of us while we sit there and wait to entertain the masses. So, man, if you're all wondering, and we have a particular topic tonight, hang on. Hang on a second. So tonight's particular topic is we don't have one.
Well, that's okay.
We don't have one. And I'll explain why.
Good.
Because the Brainiac here forgot to take his meds this morning because he was up since 4 o'clock again.
Yeah.
And I was working on it now, as many of you know, I work on a lot of other projects too. And I actually had a little bit of some breaking information on a missing persons case that I've been working for the better part of, I want to say 10 years.
Mm.
And so I got into that this morning, and I actually had to watch a couple of interrogation / interview videos with my with our prime suspect. And yeah, so I was up and very concentrated. Forgot to take my meds. Ended up doing a bunch of stuff today. Ran into our good friend out there, Jonathan. I see him running in there. Sasquatch Wizard and her on text.
Yeah, we're talking about that.
And
Small
I
world.
got home and I ended up getting some oolong noodles. Stir fried those up with some Korean barbecue beef.
Oh yeah.
And ate that along with some coconut chicken.
Oh man.
And I said, all right, I'm gonna get it's now like 6 o'clock. I'm belly's full, and I'm like watching it.
Nodded off.
And I woke up and it was 8 o'clock. Oops. So my apologies for having the lack of a lot of prepared material for tonight. And but you know, we can that's right, coconut platypus is delicious, guys. You tasted like chicken anyway. So anyway, yeah, I was so I apologize for the lack of preparedness for tonight, but we're gonna talk on a potpourri or potpourri, if you prefer, of topics and of things that amuse us, and we are tickled to death that everybody would be here to join us, regardless. Yeah. I mean, our chat is buzzing, and we didn't even advertise the show today, which tells us a lot. We appreciate all of you. We see a lot of new names in the chat, and that's an awesome thing. Yeah. And like I say, around here, we like talking about the Bigfoot mystery a lot. Right. I mean, we talk about a lot of other things as well.
Yeah.
And
Bigfoot and other mysteries, but we don't do religion. We don't do politics. We don't mess around with that stuff.
Right. So somebody asked, speaking of missing persons, do you think Sasquatch is involved with any of them? No, I do not. Maybe. No, I haven't seen any evidence that ever suggested that one single Sasquatch was involved with a missing person, other than anecdotes or secondhand information.
Certainly.
Or mere conjecture.
Certainly hope they're not involved in any missing person.
We've talked about that before. There are so many different and folks, if you want I'm sorry, I looked up and I read this comment. Here, Mick wrote, here's a challenge. Steve, present tonight's show via interpretive dance. And thank you, Mick, so much too. Mick.
Mick, what a god! Thank you so much, Mick. You're too kind.
But you know, we are the Bigfoot show that we can talk other things and still have a lot of fun. We love our crew, and I think our crew loves us. And otherwise, either that or they're here just to see what we're going to say next.
Well, we need to do a roll call too. Because
we sure do. So let's get everybody recognized, including all our new viewers tonight.
A lot of people in the chat tonight.
I mean, just
thanks, guys. I'm glad to see you.
All right. Have to get my operatic voice on. So, first in tonight, Dr. Mark in Texas. Well, welcome you, sir. First time we're seeing Dr. Mark.
Good to see you.
Welcome aboard. Yeah. Pete H. Hello, Pete. Pat Collins. Pete. What's up, brother, from another mother? Finding the Trackway. Bill, what's going on, bro? Stan Piper.
Sandra?
Mick, of course, the mighty Mick. Matt, Central
Man,
Bigfoot in the house.
Matt,
Chris, hello, how are you? With his
Chris.
greetings, mortals. We love that. Karen Fisher, good to see you
Yeah.
again. Karen's become one of our new regulars. We love it.
Appreciate seeing you here, Karen.
Else? Angel Nolan, hello, Angel. Good
Angel.
to see you. There's Jonathan, Sasquatch Wizard Adirondacks, who I just literally saw a couple of hours ago.
Good to see you, John.
And in chat, sir. And a lot of these folks I'll be seeing this Saturday night at the Sasquatch Calling Festival.
Oh, yeah. Whitehall coming up.
So that's going to be awesome. Traveling with Jim. Be seeing him as well this weekend.
Yeah.
And so everybody will be in. So who else? Senior Chief. Hello, Senior Chief. Good to see you.
Senior
Another
Chief,
new
welcome.
one in the house.
Yeah.
Brian McMahon. Hello, sir. Don Gamel
Right.
Jr. Don. Gary Johnson Sr. Of course you're here. And we're glad you're here, sir. Who else?
I'm lost. I am lost.
Nick, here's Nikki from Sasquatch Secrets. Hello, Nikki.
Nikki.
Folks, check out her channel, Sasquatch Secrets. Check it out. Walter Kroll. Walter Kroll, hello.
Walter.
Oh, there's the boss. Jen's in the house. Good to
Jen.
see you, Jen. The Susie Monster. There's another one of our
Susie
new regulars.
Monster.
Good to see you, Susie Monster. Love that name.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Sharon, what's happening, Sharon? From
Sharon?
over there in Belgium. Good to see you.
Yeah.
We got Jay Fritz in the house as well.
Hey. Yeah, I got
Elton,
lost.
AKA Faster Man. Chris, my friend, how are you? More cowbell, he says. That's right. And again, you know, done. Kaiju Ninja 1985. How can we forget you, sir? Good to see you. Coconut
Ninja.
platypus is delicious. And
did you get Brian Wolf?
there he is.
There he is.
Brian, good
Yeah.
to see you from Ravenna,
Brian.
Ohio. Good to see you, sir. Well, that is good to know, Brian. He says that he discovered a number of people in the area listening to your podcast.
Cool.
Excellent. Well, we welcome them all. Patty Lindsley, good to see you. And Lindsay, another one we see quite often now. Good to see you. Brian and Chewy go hiking. Hello.
Brian.
Chewy in the house. Give Chewy a cookie for us, will you?
Chewy.
Notice I had to make sure that this one didn't hear that word. Otherwise, he'd be like, huh?
Oh, yeah. You said the magic word. Yeah.
Meanwhile, I gotta post this video sometime of our lovely office assistant here. I noticed about maybe 4 or 5 months ago, just on a whim, that I was sitting on the couch. Wife works 3 to 11, so I'm sitting on the couch one evening, and he is sitting in the when I say couch, we have a love seat. I don't have a couch because I like things compact, and I got that nice little thing in the middle where I can put remotes and hide stuff, and, you know, charge my phone because it's got a charger in it, and it's got a couple of cup holders. And sitting on the other side is the office assistant who doesn't really leave my side when he's home alone with me. And he just sighed, by the way. I can hear him like. And I was scrolling through some YouTube videos when I actually encountered a video with FDNY responding to fires. And if anything, if anybody knows, I'm a former firefighter. So I trained in New York State Fire Academy a number of times. And in one particular class, it was a train the trainer class. I was training to become a trainer of how firefighters, when they get entrapped, how to remove themselves or extricate them from their positions, even if they're packed up. So a lot of times we put our packs on, our masks to be blacked out, and we'd have to go in there and figure it out all just by feel and, you know, just by feel, taking our pack off, pushing it in front of us to climb through very well. Anyway, make a long story short, it turns out that I was with a bunch of guys, and luckily, as far as I know, they all survived 9/11. Because this was all pre 9/11 when I took it. But I took a bunch of classes. The head of the class, at the time he was a captain, he's now a Deputy Chief John Salk of FDNY. His co-instructor was a lieutenant. off of Rescue 3, and there was a couple of other guys from Rescue 3 from the FDNY there as well.
Mm.
And I will say this at all times. I wasn't a bad firefighter. In fact, in 94, I actually got a Firefighter of the Year award from my fire department.
Cool.
So I wasn't a bad firefighter, but these guys from FDNY, they were supermen. When it came to firefighting, they were supermen. They would go through these drills like it was nothing. They wouldn't even come out breathing heavy. They were that good. Unreal, incredible people. And they were great people too. You know, we would go downstairs. You know, I was staying in residence because I was coming in. Now, the New York State Fire Academy is 4 hours away from where I live. So when you go take a class there that's a week long, they put you up there for a week. They feed you, they house you, and everything. There's no TVs in the room, but in the basement, right across in the cafeteria, there's a bar room, and it's a BYOB type of thing.
Right.
Bring your own booze and stuff.
Right.
And of course, the FDNY never let you down. Sasquatch crew,
Squatch
hello,
crew.
good to see you.
Welcome.
So I would go in there and literally you know, they were great. They were like, hey, come on in, pull up a chair. Where are you from? They want to know all about you. And these guys were so dedicated to their job. They didn't do it for the love of money. They didn't do it for the job. They did it because of the job. They loved the job. And a lot of these guys were volunteer firemen on their days off, which was amazing. Where was I going with this? I forgot now. Oh yes, the office assistant. So I every once in a while I like turn around and it was like FDNY response trucks, and you know you get to see the different type of apparatus, and all their apparatus is kind of neat, like the rescue truck, and they all have different logos on them and slogans and mascots and whatnot on them. So I was watching that and I noticed, you know what? All of a sudden, the office assistant sits up and starts watching it, and I got like a half-hour video of him sitting in next to me.
Right.
Now, this is a dog never watches TV, and he's sitting there watching that TV.
Oh.
Ears perking up. And
yeah.
So.
Oh, wow. Finding the trackway.
Thank you, sir.
Bigfoot. Man, thank you so much, man.
So.
Too kind, you guys.
So today, for my little excursion, or actually when I got back from my excursion, I decided to put a fire truck video on because the office assistant was sitting next to me. What does he do? Now, mind you, he's a Shih Tzu. What does he do? And he throws his head back and he howls like a wolf 3 times.
No kidding.
I've never, but he did it. His lips pickered up. Oh,
yeah. I'll be dang.
And yeah, so it's kind of fun to watch.
I've tried to get Sandy's Yorkies to howl, and they never do. They never do. They bark. I mean, yeah, you guys probably hear him during the show a lot, but
he howled like a wolf, and now he's looking at me because he knows I'm talking about him.
Yeah.
He finally woke up from his little slumber over there. Oh man. But anyway, that was kind of just a side little story. But and one other non-Bigfoot topic I want to talk about. I did catch a new show this week that I thought was phenomenal. That I didn't know how I was going to like it, but it looked kind of interesting. I'm going to give it a try. And that was the new HBO Max series, The Penguin.
The Penguin. I've seen that advertised. I haven't watched it yet.
It is marvelous.
Is it? I'll have to check it out.
Wow, was that good? I enjoyed it very thoroughly. It's a little bit of a different pitch, but very cool. Very cool indeed.
Yeah, that's one of the online streaming services that I subscribe to. Is HBO Max, and usually I watch the old episodes of Doctor Who.
It's more of a mob type of TV show than it is like a superhero, supervillain.
Yeah.
They tie that in, but so right now, very superficially, it's more of a mob movie. So it's more of an organized crime type of movie. And like, wow, this is really good.
Kind of like The Sopranos meets Batman.
Kind of,
So it's-
kind of. Yeah, kind of.
Well, it's
so
kind of
really,
interesting. Yeah.
Yep. I thought it was very, very entertaining, very surprising,
Yeah.
and I'm very dark all of a sudden.
Oh, you look fine to me.
I'm looking. So anyway,
I've been watching that one. What is it? Lord of the Rings or something? The new thing that Amazon's doing, season 2, about the Lord of the Rings trilogy, whatever.
right, I haven't seen that yet, but I
It's-
kind of
it's pretty
lost it.
cool.
I watched. I enjoyed Lord of the Rings, but I kind of couldn't get through The Hobbit.
Yeah.
At that point, I was getting kind of tired of it.
Well, they added a lot of political correct stuff in there. Like, we got to have hobbits of every race and stuff, and and a lot of people had a problem with that because it wasn't really what the Tolkien had originally written. But I'm of the opinion that I don't care. It doesn't matter. If they want to have a different race of hobbits, that's fine by me. But a lot of people really took issue with it for some reason. But yeah, and though it's the way Hollywood is, man, they got to do something, and they'll throw their politics into it too.
So anyway,
I enjoy
know.
the story.
Yeah. So it's for a matter of, that's why we don't do politics here.
Yeah,
We want to get away from the
exactly.
crap and
Don't like that
Now-
stuff. Yeah.
now. I have to take a 2-second break here for a second, Chris. So if you think
Go ahead,
you can
man.
entertain somebody for a second.
Oh, Jay, you got a Yorkie too, man? Yeah, they are something. The wife has a herd of Yorkies. She has 9, which is 8 too many. And some days it's 9 too many. But yeah, I've never heard any of those pups howl. And I've tried to make them do that. I've played there's some videos on YouTube say, do you want to make your dog howl? Let him listen to this. And it'll be like fire engine alarms or whatever going off, or a video of wolves howling, And my Yorkies, they just, they look at the screen and they don't care. They may bark, but they never howl. I don't know. Yeah. Oh, sure. You got your granddog baby's a Shih Tzu is adorable. Yeah, they're pretty. They're cute. But yeah, we've got no, Mick. I won't be doing that. But I never really was a dog person, and until the wife got the Yorkie, and then we ended up had some pups, and next thing you know, we've got a house full. So I was kind of like, I guess they're an acquired taste. And then sooner or later, they get into your heart, whether you're a dog person or a cat person. You can't help but love them. Love them.
Shame on you, Chris.
Mine follows the. Jen says mine follows the dog on TV. If they walk off to the left or right, he goes that
Chris,
way looking for them.
Chris,
What
I'm
about-
ashamed of you.
What are you ashamed of me for?
Given the current political situation, why would you say Yorkies are an acquired taste?
Well, I was a cat person, okay? I was a cat person.
Well, yeah, that too.
Oh, well, I'm not going to go there. No,
that
no,
too.
no, I'm not going to go there.
Don't get me a Snapple.
Yeah. But yeah, I was a cat person, and it took me some getting used to. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I didn't like dogs. It's just that for some reason, cats are attracted to me. Cats love me. I guess I'm an old cat person.
So,
But But, there could be a cat, walk up a stray from across the street. He wants to jump in my lap, curl up, purr, and go to sleep. I don't know why. But, Brian said, I love my dog. I love my dog more than people. Well, they are people.
Sometimes
they are people. Yeah.
So getting over to the Sasquatch topic briefly, there's a reason why I kind of got discouraged this week, is because it seems like this week, for a while, for like a period of like 3 or 4 weeks, it settled down for a little bit. But now we are inundated with the people of all the stick structures again, which just drives me, that drives me insane.
Yeah.
I'm looking in these Facebook groups for legitimate Sasquatch stories, and I got people showing me tree breaks saying, "Oh my God, look at this, look at that, look at this, look at that." And again, that's the, as I like to say, the MK massacre theory right there.
Right.
It's like we see something and automatically it's this.
You're looking into it too much. putting in thought there that doesn't really.
It's a matter of just wanting to believe in something so bad that we're going to take, the slightest. I mean, I look at these people and I go to myself, my God, none of these people ever would pass muster as an investigator.
Right.
Never.
If you're out walking in the woods and you come up on a line of tracks that are Sasquatch or Bigfoot tracks, and you like following those along, and you happen to look up and you see a tree break, a twist, you can say in your mind, hey, that could be related,
a twist,
because I'm on the trail.
I'm looking at tree breaks,
right,
with lack of tracks, lack of a sighting report around the area, or a recent sighting report. It's just people jaunting into the woods going, oh, let me look for look at that tree break, it's Bigfoot. and
Bigfoot. Well, maybe not.
And you're right, Matt. They exist. It's impossible not to leave sign, but people look at the wrong sign. They look at tree breaks that make no sense. They look at tree breaks rather than traditional marking breaks that are traditional sign. For example, when you read something like this, okay, you understand that there's a difference between a sign and tree breaks.
Right.
Tree breaks are not sign. Sign is sign. Yeah. A tree break can be a sign, but it doesn't necessarily mean it is sign.
Right.
And that's the big difference. When you have something moving through brush, it breaks trees. And it just doesn't. But every single break that these people find is like, there's a tree and it's broken. Why is that Bigfoot? It's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
All right. If there's an area of brush where a path is cleared and there's tree breaks all up and down, that to me is sign of a Bigfoot.
Could be. Yeah.
Very well could be. Well, what that height makes breaks. There's only two things in my area, and that's a Bigfoot or a moose, right? And usually there'd be some moose sign. So that to me is an issue.
I spent a lot of time out in the woods, and I saw a lot of tree breaks and things that would be evidence of a heavy snow last winter or last year's ice storm.
Right, and I agree. I agree, Matt. Hey, Matt, I tracked one for a good 75 yards down a hill, and right off of fresh sighting. There are so many things, and like people see these tree bends, and automatically they think it's Sasquatch. When trees just don't pull down a tree and it stays there, no matter how strong you are.
Yeah.
Right. It's going to go back up unless something is holding it down. So when you see these tree bends, it's because something has fallen on them, eventually rotted away or rolled away, or there's ice damage, or there's something there, because you have to hold the tree down there for quite a while for it to stay that way. But people think, trees bend like steel. They don't. So that's the issue.
Oh man.
Well, considering there's a good question. Pete H asks, do I think them making nests is real? I do. Most of your primates make beds on the ground of grass, of leaves. Orangutans even make pillows and blankets. So yes, they your primates will, your great apes will sleep on the ground. They don't
Yeah.
sleep in trees. So yeah, they make beds. They make nests. Now, what do their nests look like? Well, I've seen nests that look like like dog dens, or even beaver dens, and or dried out beaver dens. And people seem to make more than like, they're not going to make themselves a hut. That's
Right.
anthropocentristic,
Yeah.
or anthropomorphistic, I should say. We would build a hut, but none of the other great apes make huts. They may put some leaves up over certain things to shelter themselves, but they're not going to make like this traditional stick. You know how long it would take and you got to think about it, that the great apes move in troops, and they may not sleep in the same area every night. They may move a little ways, but they keep to their territory. Well, why do we build things? Because we stick around.
Yeah.
Think about the Bedouins who are nomadic. They never built structures. They had these portable things they brought with them, right?
Yeah.
So you're not going to take the time and build complicated structures if you're a nomadic or a constantly on the move type of crew. Even if they stick to one area, I don't think they're not going to build themselves a hut. That's something humans do, not great apes.
Right.
So, and to think that a Sasquatch would do that, again, is anthropomorphic. We don't know. We look at everything in terms of ourselves, even when we relate to the primates, and we got to remember that when they did a study, because there's only one animal that is born that will respond to where we point, and it's not a chimpanzee, it's not an orangutan, it's not a gorilla, it's not any primate at all. It's actually a dog, which is bizarre, but it's in their DNA to be symbiotic with us. So if you think about that, a baby chimp does not understand what pointing means until it's taught. Same thing with a dog. Or I'm sorry, different with a dog. A puppy will automatically follow your hand. So wolves won't do it. They tried it with wolves too, or wolf pups. They won't do it. Only a domesticated dog would do it. Nothing else. So when you think about that, there's a lot of things that we may assume a Sasquatch does because we do it. Completely wrong. That's anthropomorphic. Look at what primates generally do as a whole. Do all primates establish a territory? Yes, they do. So that's what they do. But how they live specifically is different for each individual. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder
The one commonality is in a generic term, all the great apes sleep on beds. Three of them make their own beds. The fourth ones go to the store and buy them. Right?
Well, with the nest theory, though, I could see them making a nest. I've never seen one other than photos, but wonder what could be some other possible uses of those other than sleeping. You think maybe they could use it like for put their small ones in there, like stay here while they're out doing something?
Um, what do other primates do?
Well, usually, yeah, they
Other primates do not leave their children alone.
right.
They
Usually
leave
they're
it
hanging
with
around on
another.
mom.
They
Right.
leave it with another, either the father or another mother.
They're climbing on mom. Yeah.
Right, right, and or mom stays behind.
Dogs coming from wolves, they're pack animals, used to be symbiotic. The domesticated dogs he's used as alpha dominant member of the
Right. Absolutely,
yes.
absolutely.
Love wolves. Love wolves.
Yeah, but if anybody, do I believe they build nests in trees? I do not. No, because we would be finding nests in trees. I mean,
That would be hard to miss. Yeah.
that'd be kind of hard.
Hey,
to
look,
miss.
there's a
And-
big, 8x8 nest.
You got to understand, a 600-pound Sasquatch is going to have a hard time
Oh.
sleeping on a branch in a tree.
Yeah.
That's a lot of weight. That's
Yeah.
try putting a transmission and hanging it from a tree branch, right? You're talking there's 500-600 pounds right there,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I
mean, could you do it? Yes, but what are you going to do? Sleep like this? I mean, think of their size, their girth, their width. How are they going to sleep on a branch? That's right. You think ostrich eggs are big, or platypus, but you know what? You think platypus eggs are big.
Oh man. But yeah, I would like to see something like that. I've not seen anything like that in Kentucky, but that doesn't mean anything, just because.
I mean, gorillas. I think they would. Let's face it, the gorillas sleep on the forest floors because of their size.
Yeah.
Well, I would think that they probably would sleep very similar to the way the gorillas do. Hammocks are a rarity. They're not a commonality. Even amongst humans, Aboriginal humans, hammocks were something created in certain climates for certain reasons. When you have a lot of creepy crawlies in the jungle, that's why hammocks were created, to keep you off the ground.
Yeah.
But again, that's an anthropomorphic thing, wouldn't you think? Because we have chimpanzees that'll hang in makeshift hammocks or hang in vines. May even fall asleep in a vine or two, but they don't make them. We're the only ones that make hammocks. So again, that would be anthropomorphistic to think that they would make hammocks. You have to. It's difficult at times because even I have to stop myself. Mick, I have no idea. Probably. And that so to that question, probably. That is a trait common. That's a trait common to all primates. So probably.
Well, I've seen structures. I don't think you would call them stick structures, but it looked like more like a brush pile that had been a bunch of brush had been drug up, and it was placed on each side, and there was an open place in the middle where they could get. And I mean, this brush pile was probably 4 feet high, okay, on each side.
Right.
But I wouldn't call that a nest.
Yeah, but then again, without the benefit of having a sighting report around that, tracks, any of that, you have to kind of put that aside and lend that to, that could be bushcraft. That could have been somebody just looking for a shelter one day, or, hey, let's build ourselves a shelter. You just can't tell, and
well, the only reason I knew for sure this one was because I saw 2 Sasquatches inside it.
Well, that would be a good reason why to believe that would be a Sasquatch then.
Yeah. And
And
I had no
then
idea what they
again,
were using it for.
and then
Other
again,
than,
as you looked at it, well, you know what? I could tell you like a number of reasons is they're probably trying to conceal themselves.
yeah,
Concealment, camouflage.
I mean,
They do a very good job of that on their own, but
there
hey,
wasn't a roof on top of it or anything. It was just
right,
like a blind, you know.
exactly. And as we know, a lot of people forget the Scott Herriot video. You remember Scott Herriot, Chris?
Yeah, which video is that? The one where he's looking in the bush, or that's Chris?
Yeah, where they were up the mountain up in Washington State, and he had a cameraman with him, and it was laying. There was a log that had fallen, and it was laying under the log, looking out from underneath the log at them.
Okay.
And you actually get a face with an eye blinking, and of course, it's VHS camera,
Yeah,
so the quality ain't, and it zoomed in,
not the best quality. Yeah,
but you could see it. And I believe their story because his partner that filmed it was really effed up after it.
right.
So that's huge as well.
That's got to be a shock to the senses when you see something like that.
That occurred in the mid '90s as well.
Mm-hmm.
But you see, these are things a lot of new folks don't learn about or don't know about and forget about. And hey, folks, I don't know how are we looking tonight out there on YouTube? Are we looking a little crisper? Are we looking a little sharper? Just curious because tonight, for the first time, we're actually broadcasting in 1080p. So we're in actually HD tonight instead of
we've
standard
upgraded.
definition.
Yeah,
We've upgraded.
I apologize, everybody.
Not that we wanted to upgrade, but we were kind of forced to upgrade. That's what happens with rate hikes. So yeah, and that's another side programming note too, is that it's still up in the air yet, but right now we are with StreamYard. But StreamYard over the last week has announced they're raising their prices 80%. As the plan I was on has almost doubled in price. So they have now surpassed Blog Talk Radio's price, which for years they had not. But there is an alternative out there as well. So we shall see if we stay with StreamYard yet. But I kind of...
I'm more apt to believe that if the stick structure isn't man-made, it might be a hunting bluff. Sasquatch built, don't know.
Yeah, I mean, a stick structure... I mean, Occam's razor.
Right.
I mean, let's face it. Let's say you're part of the normal world that doesn't believe in Sasquatch. Oh, that was built by a Sasquatch. Well, what evidence do you have?
Right.
Well, what else can make it? That's a pretty weak excuse.
Yeah.
Because I can name a bunch of things right now that could make that, that would make that, namely humans, foresters, loggers, bushcrafters. Bushcrafting is a thing. Just look at YouTube and search the term bushcraft. There's a lot of people. Hey, Lays and Blaze.
Yeah.
Thank you, Boo StreamYard. Yes, you probably feel our pain somehow. I believe that.
Unless
Kaiju Ninja asked, "Is StreamYard the best streaming platform?" As far as I know, yes. It's always been the least complicated.
Yeah, we've had good luck with them.
We've had really great luck with them, which is why I'm apt to bitch about it, yet stay loyal to them for a while. Yeah. StreamYard was started by these two guys, and they would constantly talk to us. They would have a weekly live chat using StreamYard on Facebook with their Facebook group, and they encourage you to join the Facebook group. And about 2 years ago, they ended up selling it for big dollars. I mean, granted, these kids were in their mid to late 20s, and now they were millionaires, and they were staying on as advisors to the new company.
That's
But
great.
in May of this year, they tried to buy it back because the company that bought it wanted to sell it again.
Right.
And they tried to buy it back, but they were outbid by another company. And in the 4 months the company has had it, they have increased some of the features. Like right now, one of the nicer things I'm looking at is we now have a dark screen. A
Yeah, I
lot of
like
times in the studio, we were looking at all our graphics, our screens, our chats, everything was on a white screen. And truthfully, it was I mean, tonight's like the first night my eyes aren't tired. I'm not,
Yeah.
right? I'm not, my eyes aren't going out of their head because they finally created a dark mode. And now it's like, wow, this is really easy. And now I don't have a screen in front of me blasting white light on me, right? Which makes lighting even more difficult, which is the reason why I'm slightly a little bit more shadowy or darker tonight. But you know, but what they did is that they had different levels of plans, and I never saw the basis of why broadcast in 1080p. You know, 720 is fine. Everybody's enjoying the show. We're here. We're doing it, and now all of a sudden we're forced into this next upgraded plan. Which originally the plan was, I think, $39.90. They had tier levels $25, and we've been paying $25 since 2019. Blog Talk was $40. Believe it or not, just for their pathetic old school system.
Blog Talk.
And,
I don't miss those days.
well, there's a convoluted story behind Blog Talk too. But
it was terrible. It was terrible. And then we were on the Paranormal TV network there for a while. And
well, let me get to that. Let me get to that. But
we're going through old time.
Yeah. We'll go back to Blog Talk in a second. But it is what it is. I mean, there's another one I'm checking out. It's called EV Mux or Ev Mux or whatever. Yeah. Very similar to StreamYard, except things are a little bit backwards in the thing. So now it makes my camera placement a little weird because the way I have the camera set is close to where if I look at Chris, I'm kind of looking at the camera, right? Everything is backwards. So
when I'm looking at the chat,
right.
Now I gotta look way over there. Kaiju Ninja's got a question. Says, what sorts of things do you think Bigfoot does create in nature, if anything, other than nests? What sort of things do you think they build?
Well, let's think about it. What do chimpanzees build? What do gorillas build? What do orangutans build? They may build some nests on the ground, some beds, bedding areas.
Yeah.
That's about it.
The only thing
building things is a Homo sapien trait.
Yeah. The only thing that I've ever seen was the tree, a top broken out of a cedar tree, and it was leaned up against another tree to kind of make a blind. And then I saw those brush pile type things that I think were like, I don't know, a day blind or something, someplace where they could stay out of sight. Don't know. It wasn't a nest. It didn't look like a nest. So I don't know. I could see some, advantages of either one to keep themselves hidden from view during the day when other people are out. But, I don't think, other than that, I don't know if they build anything or not.
Yeah, most primates don't. Building stuff, aside from some rudimentary things that, like beavers will build dams.
Yeah.
But is that really building things? That's nesting, right? That's nesting.
Yeah.
We're the only ones that built hunting tools. We're the only ones that made tools. None of the great apes necessarily forged tools. Although there is a prevailing theory right now that the chimpanzees are on the dawn of their stone age, basically.
Yeah, I
There
think
is that prevailing
I think some tool use was reported, but about them using sticks to dig for clams. But I think that was related back to Ivan Marks, so that's kind of suspect.
Yep.
But
Yes.
right.
Building things is a Homo sapien trait. We build monuments, we build things for comfort, we build furniture, we build computers. We are, and that was brought up on a Rogan show too, and I forget which show it was, but we are one of the strange things that our main focus on life is building things and advancing things. That's all we do. Is making things better. That's all we do as human beings. You think about it. We have, for example, take for example this bottle, right? My little pumpkin spice iced coffee that I have, and okay, if you think about it, 100 years ago, we didn't even have the methods or means to make the iced coffee inside of this, right? Let alone plastic. Things were in glass, and the caps were made of metal, and what we did was we improved on that. We made it cheaper to make. We made it lighter to carry. We made it safer to drink and consume. I mean, you can look at every single thing that's around. We have this, the mouse, right, on our computer.
Yeah.
Remember when they first came out? They were corded. They had a cord that plugged into
Yep.
a computer. They had a roller ball on them, not an optical eye.
Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah,
we make things better. That is our focus on life.
Yeah.
How
To
about
stop.
how about this?
Clean your mouse ball.
How about a pen? Right? When we first made these, they were made with a big feather, and you would have to dip that in an inkwell to write with, right? So that's what we do as a species: is we make things better.
Yeah.
Hunting tool. So
if
that
they
goes
start-
back. That goes back to my thing is that
Yeah.
aside from the rudimentary stick, maybe to hit something or beat something or grabbing a rock, no, I don't think they make hunting tools per se.
If
They
the
use.
Sasquatch starts making spears, I'm out of the woods. I'm never going back.
That's right.
Never.
There has never been a legitimate reported sighting with any type of follow up of anybody seeing a Bigfoot carrying a complicated stone tool, metal tool, or even
Right.
crafted wood tool, other than maybe a stick or a rock.
Yeah, they start making spears, man. I'm out.
And again, when we automatically can go to that, we're becoming anthropomorphic. Now,
Right.
don't let me tell people or let people think that that's necessarily a bad thing. Anthropomorphism is a natural thing because of our minds, the way our minds work. We think like a human, so we tend to think like everything else thinks like us, and they don't. And the way I understood that is that anthropomorphism is really easy to understand. Anthropocentrism is easy to understand as an interrogator. And the reason why is that people always say, oh, you're a trained interrogator, interrogate me. Well, it doesn't work that way, right? Because if I sit somebody in the chair, they actually have to be thinking and guilty like a criminal or like somebody that's under suspicion of something dubious.
Yeah.
If they're not thinking that way, whatever I think, how they think is completely differently than the innocent person thinks. So again, it's kind of, so equate that to like, we can't think the way a Sasquatch thinks because we're not a Sasquatch.
The Sasquatch or X blinds, though, that seems like something a chimpanzee or other apes would construct. And I think so too, but it may be a little bit beyond that because it seems like they may be more self-aware than a chimpanzee or gorilla would be of being seen by others.
Chimpanzees, orangutans, and even gorillas do build stuff to hide behind. They do build blinds.
So, yeah.
But again, that's not complicated tool making. That's just taking stuff and piling it up so they can hide behind it.
That's
right?
a pile of
Right.
brush and debris and trees.
And think about it, an orangutan can take a stick and go, let me poke that stick into the hole and get the ants and eat the ants, and chimpanzees do that too.
Yeah.
But you know, we don't see them attaching a rock with a vine to a stick and then going boom, boom, boom. Right? We only see them taking the stick and hitting it with the stick, or taking the rock with their hand and doing that. So yes, can they use simple tools? Obviously, chimpanzees will use rocks to do things. Orangutans will use rocks to do things. Gorillas, not so much. Gorillas, believe it or not, even though they're closer to us than orangutans are more human-like than gorillas, believe it or not. Like I said, here we have chimpanzees that they may build some nests on the floor to lay down and sleep, or beds on the floor of the forest to lay down in comfortably. But the orangutans make pillows and blankets so they can pull it over them, which is showing a lot more intelligence than a chimpanzee in that particular instance. So I think
it's showing that they like to be comfortable.
Right.
I don't know what this is. Tell us about the twin blue beams of light into the sky. What is that from Lays and Blaze?
I have no idea.
I don't know. That's
the only
on me.
Okay, so the only twin blue lights I've ever seen shine into the sky is once where the World Trade Center had stood months after the 9/11 attack. That's the only one twin blue lights I've ever seen it come beaming out of the sky. Actually, they weren't beaming out of the sky; they were being light into the sky, and that's exactly what they were doing. That would have been the 9/11 lights shining up into the sky. I did see that once going over the old Tappan Zee Bridge, going in to visit my brother one night, and truly amazing. As you go over the bridge, there's a point where you can look down the Hudson, and for many a year, I would drive over that bridge to visit my brother who lived in White Plains, which is in Westchester County. Which, if people don't understand, White Plains is kind of like in the center of Westchester County. And at the very south of Westchester County is Yonkers. And then right over the border in Yonkers is the Bronx. So you're into New York City, one of the boroughs. So I would go into White Plains. And as I would go into White Plains, I would travel over, and you get to a certain point where down the bridge, you would always look on a beautiful, clear day. You could look down the Hudson, and you could see those two twin towers standing there.
Yeah.
And I remember that since I was a little child, my father taking me down there. Because although they started building the Twin Towers, I believe in 1969, the year I was born, and they officially finished them in 1976, but they were high up. And then they put the tower on them, I think around 1980, or 85, they put the one tower spire on it with all the communications. And I remember driving over there, and you'd always look down there, even on a foggy day, you might be a misty or a hazy, hot, not foggy day, smoggy day. You would see this off in the distance. You would see this beautiful two shadows of two towers standing there. Yeah. And I remember driving into the city or into White Plains in the evening once. And I looked down there, and that was after 9/11, and you couldn't help but not look. And I remember the first time driving through, that was in the daytime, going, my God, they're really gone. They're not there. Right. And then the next time I drove down, it was in the evening, and then off in the distance, as we hit that thing, you could see as you hit that right angle, you could see all the way down the Hudson River to Manhattan, and you could see those two blue spiring lights.
It's a big change. Yeah, big change in the skyline of New York City.
Yeah. It really was. So it was quite something.
And I hadn't been there since I guess it was the year 2000. 24 years ago. And, back then I was a truck driver when I wasn't working as a machinist at the factory. And I always got, since I was the low man on a totem pole, I always got the New York runs. If you got to deliver in New York City, nobody else wanted to do it because it's a pain.
Well, you know, you eat at the Bad Deli in New York, you get the New York runs too. Kaiser Ninja asks, do you know if apes use wood knocking to communicate? Chimpanzees do. Well, bang on trees with sticks.
Mm,
So
very cool.
very cool. And Don, I tend to agree that some of it's probably for locating one another. But if that's truly a tree knock, there has been a lot. Dave Wickham, Tater can do an
Haters.
awesome mouth pop that sounds just like a tree knock.
Mm. That's the thing, you know, we don't see them hitting the tree or making this noise.
Right.
We just assume that they're hitting a tree.
Correct.
Maybe they're not. Who knows?
So,
But now I've heard a loud tree knock or whack, like a stick. I don't know, maybe a 3-inch stick break. Big loud pop right prior to a sighting. And I have to think that those two were related because it happened so close together.
right.
But I didn't see what did it, whether it hit something with the tree or it broke a limb.
If the weather is below freezing,
Yeah.
I don't trust wood knocks, period, because
Right.
trees will pop and crack.
Yeah. Split the bark.
and sound just like a tree knock. I mean, I've had a tree knock probably 25 feet from me at my old house when I was surrounded by the woods.
Yeah.
And I got lights on. I'm like, well, that definitely wasn't a Sasquatch, and it definitely was that tree right there that just went.
Yeah.
I was walking. I was taking the dog out for a run, and it was 22 degrees out. Rudimentary cairns. Now that again, anthropomorphism. That's something we do. Nothing.
Yeah, I
anybody
don't
else
think so.
does. Eh?
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, Don. Yeah, Don. That's a good one. Oh, sorry, Steve.
no.
Ever heard of a squatch pounding the ground? I think I have. I think I've heard that.
Oh.
And it was a bunch of us were coyote hunting on the home farm about 2 o'clock in the morning, and we left
Right.
because of that. Okay, Steve. Yeah, we heard we were standing around. We'd been playing this wounded rabbit call and wounded rodent call, and if you hunt coyotes, you know what I'm talking about. They come they come running up, and then you put the spotlight on them and take care of business. But we had been playing this, and we were waiting. We could hear the coyotes off in the distance, and but they weren't getting any closer for some reason. We couldn't figure out why they weren't coming in. We kept playing the wounded rabbit, wounded rodent call. And during a break in that, when it went from one call to the next, it kind of paused, and we heard a big thump on the ground. Now, I mean, I don't know, it sounded like something extremely heavy hit the ground. Boom. And we left, and we got back to the house. And we were all standing out in the front yard of my house about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and everybody was talking about it. We were trying to stomp the ground and make it as loud as what we heard, and we couldn't do it. Nobody could make it as loud as what they heard. But I'm a firm believer that was Bigfoot related.
In 2004, I think, or 5, NESRA, which is the Northeast Sasquatch Research Association, was on an expedition or on a mission. They were out for the weekend or whatever, up in the Adirondack State Park, very close to where my research one is. And the whole crew of them heard this big ground thumping.
Yeah.
Boop.
Yeah.
So again, and you're right, until there are certain things that we can hypothetically assume about a Sasquatch. And John, this is my theories on that, is that ultimately they look like a primate, they act like a primate, they behave like a primate throughout all of that. And the number one thing is that their footprints are primate-like. Their footprints are very indicative of a primate. They've been examined by Dr. Esteban Sarmiento. They've been examined by Dr. Grover Krantz. They've been examined by Dr. Jeff Meldrum. They've been examined by Dr. John Bindernagel. They've been investigated by, looked at by environmentalist John Moynizinski. All of them, and archaeologist Kathy Strain, all of them have agreed that the footprints are primate in nature. If you look at the print, there is direct connection to us.
Yeah.
Direct and also direct connections to the great apes and to other forms of past primates. You know, the Australopithecines, the
How'd you ninja ask about
Paranthropus.
what about chest pounding? It could have been.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Very well could be. Yep.
It's a big swamp.
So there are things, specifics, how they specifically behave. Do they build nests on the ground? What do they use for tools? Do they chest pound? Do they mouth pop? Do they do this? Do they do that? All of this is conjecture that nobody, unless they actually see it, can really attest to it without it's just mere conjecture. But there's things that we can take away that since they're primate, we know in generality, and that was my big part of my behavior studies, is we know in general how they may live or how they live, because all primates live in this fashion. They have home ranges, they have territories, they have foci activity areas, and their behaviors are similar in all of those areas across the board. Now, what they each may specifically do may be a little bit different. That's where we need to, find out. Why do they chest pop? Maybe they mouth pop because they feel their area is threatened. Maybe they chest pound because they feel their area is threatened. Maybe they scream because they feel we don't know that specific. But we do know that when a primate's area is interfered with, they do act up, including us. So,
Lays in a blaze. Do you think they pick our magic mushrooms here in the Cascades?
You never know.
I don't know, but I'll tell you what. In Kentucky, the early March, that's when we have the most activity. That's when the mushrooms, the morels, are out. So, there's maybe something tied to that as a food source. I don't know if they're, of course, they're not eating, the morels are not magic mushrooms.
So,
with chimpanzees going after the fermented apples or fermented fruit,
yep.
I would think that Sasquatch, Bigfoot would know what they could eat to give them a funny feeling.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and guess what? That's a primate thing.
Yeah.
We like getting a buzz.
I'm going to eat this because it makes me feel good.
They very well could eat, these mushrooms. But then again, you have to think about mushrooms too. How do they taste? Like dirt.
Yeah.
So it may not be to their taste.
I like them.
Right? Whereas an apple is sweet.
Yeah.
And primates, all primates, chimpanzees, bonobos, orangs, gorillas, they have an affinity for two tastes, sweet and salty. That's why we like our candy. That's why we like our chips. That's why we like bacon so much, because that's salty.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, Mick says said, Steve, Chris, I don't believe anyone could truly mimic wood knots with their mouths at the same distance that wood knots are heard from.
Well,
I don't know.
I don't know, because think about the thickness of their vocal cords. That I don't know. I don't know.
Well, we were out in my front yard trying to mimic that stomping sound we heard, and we couldn't do it. We couldn't get near as loud as what it was. The thump was so loud. I mean, so it was jarring. You could feel it in your chest when it thumped, and it wasn't like a thump 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 like King Kong beating his chest. It was just one big thunk and or thud, and it was like something heavy had hit the ground, and we couldn't reproduce that no matter how hard we tried.
So, there's a couple of more questions up here. Let's start. We got to start starring them because they're coming in now. So the first one is from Kaiju Ninja. Do you think Bigfoot could be cannibalistic? Could be, yes. Is normally no.
Creepy,
Yeah,
but very possible.
But chimps have been known to do that.
Humans too.
Humans too. But it's a rarity. It's a rarity. So could they be? Yeah, absolutely. As a matter of survival, could be. But think about the situations. Like, where did humans turn cannibalistic? Well, let's put the ritualistic African tribes aside. Let's look at modern times. There was a time in that crew that was crashed on the soccer team. They got lost up in the Andes Mountains.
Andes, right? Yeah.
But they didn't cannibalize on the living. They cannibalized on the where that was already dead.
Yeah.
Right. And it wasn't like they wholeheartedly wanted to do that either.
Right.
They very reluctantly did that. So may not be a necessary thing they want to do, but they have to do to survive. That's in any animal given, canine, Ursa, anything.
Meat is meat. Meat is meat, and you have to eat.
Mick is trying to get my goat. I'm anthropomorphizing. Sasquatch might enjoy the taste of shrooms. Well, I like mushrooms, but it's an acquired taste. So, again, it could be an acquired taste.
No, mushrooms are great.
Okay,
you haven't had pizza.
I want to address John's question here. There was a time when I found myself conjuring up a valid reason why Sasquatch would manipulate forest materials, bends breaks to command. Right, exactly. And you got yourself out of that. And that's what we need to do. What we need to really do is those questions is we need to stick to the basics. When somebody says they have a Sasquatch that keeps coming onto their property, I'll give you a great example. I did an investigation up, forget the name of it, near the town of Ohio in New York. It's in the middle of the Adirondacks. And they were having some encounters on their property consistently and constantly. And every once in a while would come through and bang on the cabin or whatever.
Right.
And what it ended up happening was that's where you can figure out why are they behaving that way. And that's where you need to do, because any animal, any creature would need to do it. Sasquatch primates are opportunistic eaters, as are most animals. When you're out in the wild, it's survival of the fittest. So it turned out that they were taking all their compost, all their rotten vegetables and meat and foods that they didn't want, and they were just tossing them out into the woods instead of putting them in the garbage cans or burning them. So what was that creating? A pile of rotten food, basically a dump of foodstuffs that was there. Another case in Kentucky, a woman was leaving bacon out for some reason for her raccoons. And then she realized that she was having Sasquatch on her property, and something banged on her house because one night she didn't leave stuff out. When you start, there's behaviors that are exhibited that are common to anything, that are common to everything else's behavior. Why is something showing up here? There's got to be a reason. That's not the hard thing to find, because you kind of can rule things out and rule things in. But when it comes to definitives, like, how do they build? Right? Do they use, what kind of rudimentary tools do you think they use and stuff like that? When you get into specifics, that's where it becomes a little more difficult because we only have a generalization. They're primates. They're mammals. They're chordata, vertebrae, mammalia, primate. And that's where we stop. So we can figure out using all those little branches what's common to all of them. Okay. Well, if they're mammalia, well, then they produce milk for their young.
Yeah.
They have live birth. And none of that's ever in question. So we go down another level. Let's go back to mammalia. They have hair. They have a fur or a hair covering. They're warm-blooded. Go down to the primate. Well, primate, they have large brains. They have forward-facing eyes. They have articulate hands and feet, large brains because of their skull cavities. The problem is the hang-up we have, especially it makes it really easy to anthropomorphize it, is that they walk upright. They walk upright, and that's really the only thing that they have in common with us.
Right.
If you take away everything, the only thing they have in common with us is they walk upright. Their foot structure is not the same as ours. Their head shape is not the same as ours. Their face is not the same as ours. They're covered in hair. We're not. We're covered in very light, sparsely covered in hair. And in fact, I think as evolution moves on, we're going to lose more and more hair as we go on because we don't need it. Yeah. That's why we've become lesser bone dense creatures like the Homo erectus and stuff like that, because we don't need that bone density because we use these to forge tools that do our hunting for us. Right. So what happened was our brain size grew and everything else kind of diminished a bit because with the brain power, we didn't need this.
Yeah.
So when you think about it, anything that they do similar to us, you can almost discount right now, except what we have similar to the primates, to the chimpanzees, gorillas, and orangutans, bonobos, billy apes, stuff like that. The commonalities we have with our distant cousins.
Well, I think it's important to mention that, anytime you have an encounter something, not everything is Sasquatch or Bigfoot either. Back when we were hunting the coyotes and had that foot stomping thing, at the time, none of us thought, Bigfoot. No. No, it was like we just couldn't understand what that was. And then later, a few years later, then I found some tracks across our tobacco patch, and I was like, wait a minute. Start putting two and two together. And
another good question, Kaiju. Well, there is a couple of thoughts to that. Now, there have been reports of them, including from Darren Lee, who's been a guest on the show, who's observed them, and he said they were running in 4x4 mode. But here's the kicker. A spine and foot structure. Spine and foot structure. The spine on a Sasquatch obviously is meant for it to walk upright. Yeah. Do we as Homo sapiens run more efficiently on two legs, or do we run more efficiently when we're leaning down going like this? One thing that is very much overlooked, and I would love to talk to Dr. Meldrum on this one, and this just popped into my head, which is the reason why I love doing these shows. Let's all think about this for a minute, because this is stuff that's going to circulate your brain cells a little bit. We often talk about the foot structure of a Sasquatch, but rarely have we talked about the leg structure or the arm structure, because chimpanzees, if you ever notice them, and gorillas and orangutans, they all kind of walk. Notice how their shoulders are usually hunched forward a little bit.
Right. Their forearms are extremely large,
Right.
muscular.
And that is for their quadrupedalism.
Yes. Sasquatch are not described like that way.
Correct. They're bow-legged. Notice that all the chimps, gorillas, and orangutans, they're all bow-legged. Why? Because they're quadrupeds. So it's not just their foot structure themselves, it's the structures of the shoulders, the structures of the arms, and positions of their hips, their iliac crests, the positions and how their iliac crests are shaped. And the iliac crest is the sockets in the bones of the hips, right? They are bent and meant in a position for them to be quadrupeds and for them to motivate real fast on all fours. And when they do walk upright, guess what they don't do very well? They don't walk very well upright.
Yep.
Right? They want to go full speed. Yeah, they can go pretty fast. But if they want to go full speed, they have to get down on fours. So do I
look
think
as comfortable as a dog walking on its hind legs.
Right. Exactly. Or a bear walking on its hind legs.
Right.
There's a lack of naturalness to it. But when you hear a Sasquatch being described walking, it's very fluid, very flowing, very smooth. And that's bipedally. Its limbs, its shoulders, its hips, its legs, and yes, its feet are meant for bipedalism. Now, does that mean, do I think they don't have the ability to once in a while go in 4x4 mode? I do. But I don't think that's their primary mode. I don't think that's what they do to speed off. When they speed off, they use that long strided legs that they have, that 4.5-foot stride we see when they're walking now can go to a 5-foot stride or a 5.5-foot stride when they're running.
Had 2 daylight encounters which the creatures were running, and they were running on 2 legs. And they were moving.
Right. So if they do, they don't do it for very long. Let me just say that. Just like we wouldn't do it for very long, doing it that way. And conversely, just like a quadruped wouldn't run on 2 feet for very long either. And it's all a matter of just good detective work, common sense, and understanding of how the body works. And once you put all these things into play, and mind you, I have that was my mission. That's been my mission the last how many years? 25, 26 years, soon to be 27 years doing this. That was my mission. Learn everything you can about this, from ecology to biology to anatomy to.
Yeah. Don. Right on.
Might even have a parallel universe where Tom Biscardi is honest.
Oh, thank you, Eric. I miss him, man. I really do. I miss him.
Oh, Eric, yeah.
Beckjord, yeah. Yeah, he was a good one. And, Beckjord, he was all about everything weird. I mean, he didn't just limit his stuff to Sasquatch. He was interested in UFOs and all kinds of stuff. If there was something weird, he was into it. Or something mystery, anything to do with mystery, he was into it.
Yeah.
And he had his own theories about everything.
Yep.
Even the Bigfoot's wearing walking down the side of the road wearing a blue jean jacket or something. What was it, Steve?
There's even a report of a Bigfoot on the side of a road wearing human blue jeans and a ragged shirt. And my response to that was, Eric, that wasn't a Bigfoot. That was a hitchhiker.
Well, or a hippie or something. I remember.
It was a hippie. And I remember my co-host at the time, that was the very first co-host, Mean Mark. He fell on the floor laughing so hard when I said that. He was sitting. That's when we used to sit next to each other doing the show, and he literally fell off the floor laughing so hard when I had said that.
I wish we could find some of those old episodes and re-air them on YouTube or on the
I have it.
StreamYard.
I have it. I have that episode.
I would love to get air it on StreamYard and just get our reactions to it. Listening. That was one of the greatest episodes. Well, a lot of them. I can't pick a favorite, but that's one of the favorites.
Oh, that had to be my favorite, even over the John Green one. That was my favorite. It was so funny, and there are times when there were times when you can have really a lot of fun, and that was you can have a really fun guest on, and like he was a guest you would never see again. As much as people wanted to hate him and said he was an annoyance and he was harassing them and all that stuff, you put him on a blog talk show or a podcast. He didn't mind going toe to toe. He didn't mind exchanging wit with you. It was all in fun. At the end of the day, we didn't hate one another. Yeah. That I realized that just because he believed in a certain thing that I knew was crazy, and he was trying to always convince me, it wasn't out of malice that he was telling me I was wrong. He just so wanted to help me and understand and find the right way, which wasn't the right way, but I get that. It wasn't anything malicious. It was, and I think that
he actually believed what he was saying.
And part of that problem went with the other side too. And I hate to say that, and some people may disagree with me that are still around to this day that tangled with him. But if you took the passion or personalization out of it, because he never called people names,
right?
Only certain people he had a disliking for.
Well, yeah, he wasn't really crazy about Mr.
Oh, he wasn't crazy about Lauren Coleman. He wasn't crazy about Biscardi. He wasn't crazy about some other folks too. But the bottom line was that neither were they towards him, right?
Feeling was mutual, I'm sure.
Right. So, that's another thing. There's so much discourse that what I get mad is the people that take up for hoaxers. They get really nasty. They get nasty about it.
Well, Jen's been talking about something in the chat I'd like to do. Jen says when we were at Mount St. Helens, I heard a pop from across from my tent, and I saw after a response pop from right next to my tent. The tote that was there got slid around.
Yeah, there you go.
And that interaction seemed to me to be communication.
Well, and again, their curiosity, like the tote being slid around and things moving around in camp, their curiosity is bar none. That's a primate thing. I did. Yeah, you're right. And you know what? We will. You know what we'll do? How about this? Next Sunday night, and it'll make it for an easy episode. Because Saturday night we're going to be in the field. We'll be in the field with Finding the Trackway and Sasquatch Wizard Adirondacks and Jen and Mrs. Trackway and Traveling with Jim and who's in the chat tonight and a few others that are here. We're going to be out in the field Saturday night after the Sasquatch calling contest. And I'll tell you what we're going to do is next week, this week, I will prepare that. And what we'll do is we are going to play clips from the Beckjord show.
Yeah.
And we'll have some live commentary on it.
Oh, that would be great.
And you know what, Chris? You can moderate it because, and you can give me questions for it instead of me narrating it. We'll play the clips and I'll let you start asking questions about it because I want it from your perspective as a listener to it because this was this was before we had even met.
Right.
And I don't know if you heard that episode before prior to us meeting.
Did not. No.
Right. But you heard it afterwards.
Yes.
And but even so, the first time hearing that, I don't think you were the co-host of the show either.
No. I didn't come along till 2010.
2008. But you became, yeah, that's when we met in 2007 or 2006.
Yeah. I'm talking about, I didn't start co-hosting until 2010.
But you had heard it previous to that.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So I want your perspective as a listener to ask me questions about as the host. What was I thinking? What was going through my mind?
Yeah. After I met you in Kentucky, I started listening to your blog talk show every week. And then I went back and of course listened to the previous episodes. And one of those was, well, several. I remember there were more than one episode that had Beckjord on there. Right. He called in a few times, right? Or you called him?
We had him on twice, but I think I only have the first episode because the second time it turned out to be a bloody brawl where Sean and Eric.
That's where he hung up, right? He got
well, Eric started being a little insulting, and Sean gave it right back to him. Instead, see, when he became insulting, I would just I knew. Being an interrogator, I can learn to move and maneuver around people. And that's the mode I was in that night. And we'll just do a little pretext to the show next week. Is I was in an interrogator mode. I was on my game. I knew what to expect when I was talking to him. And I wasn't going to let him rattle me no matter how self-deprecating he was and belittling to me he was.
Kaiju Ninja, do you have any audio recordings from the field? If so, is there any way I can listen to them? Steve's got some he's released. Yeah,
I have some I have released. I don't know if they were on this channel. I had another YouTube channel for a while. I still have it. You can still go to it, and it still has some videos on there. And that channel dated back to the days I was fighting Dyer in 2012.
Yeah.
So I don't know how the split came about with this channel and the other channel. I think it was because I'm not really sure why. But whatever the case, I can see if I can find them and move them over or do them for a show. We can do them for a show this week, actually, because we got another show coming up. We're going to do our bonus Wednesday this week, and we're going to do our, we may or may not do a show on Friday because Friday I will be getting ready for Saturday. And I may be running around a bit on Friday. So we'll see about doing a Friday show this coming week. But we'll do a show Wednesday. And I tell you what, we'll do some audio stuff for Wednesday. Great idea.
I had some an audio recording, which was a poor quality years ago from 2010. And I had lost it due to placing it on an external hard drive for safety purposes, for backup. And when the external hard drive crashed, I lost it. But it wasn't that great anyway. I mean, the audio recording quality was really low because it was recorded through like a little bitty, pocket camcorder thing. And the distance was way off, but it was kind of like a hyena kind of, sound. It was weird. But it's gone.
No, Mick, actually, Sean Forker called Eric an a-hole. That's That was what caused Eric to hang up.
Yeah, he got mad.
Yeah, Eric was being really smarmy, and John said, "Well, maybe you're just an a-hole," and all of a sudden you hear click, and that was it. And for the first time in history, Sean got Eric Beckjord to shut up.
Don't mess with the fork chop.
Don't mess with the fork chop. Of course, there were times that I had shown moments of brilliance on Blog Talk as well when we would get some prank phone calls. Like the guy who
those
called
were
up.
pretty good. Yeah.
Well, like the guy that's called up and said he had a UFO in his pants, and I said, "I'm surprised you could see it without a microscope."
Yeah.
And hung up on him.
There were some good times on the old Block Talk days. Some of the prank callers were pretty good.
Yeah.
But, that was back then when, that was about all, you could listen to any show and some people would call in. I don't know why. They just felt like hoaxers, they would like to pull pranks. They get a kick out of it. But I got a kick out of listening to them every now and then. Kids say the funniest things.
Yeah, truthfully, finding the track way. If you smell a Sasquatch, you'll know it. Been there, done that in that same area. So, hey, look who popped in. We haven't seen him. The Sandwich Savant is in the house.
Sandwich Savant.
Does anyone remember people stranded in their truck by the side of the road with the dogs? I don't. I can't say I do. But if you have a link,
I remember that. Yeah,
if you do have a link,
remember that. They were listening, and I don't remember the details, but there was a couple of people in their vehicle with their dogs, and they were recording. It sounded like the pull you up, Washington, or something like that.
Pull you up scream.
Screams, yeah, that's what it sounded like. I mean, I'm not saying it was that recording, but it sounded like that.
Was it the Clipper Mills clip? There it is. Yep.
I can't remember. Yeah. That may have been it, but that's been a while ago. It kind of gets foggy up here. Yeah.
Yeah,
it was long. It was long.
When you get to our age,
yeah,
you never know.
Yeah. When somebody asks me, "Have you ever seen such and such this clip?" and I'm like, something from I saw like 12 years ago. I'm like, yeah, I've seen that.
Well,
where I don't know.
When you get to our age, they say the first thing to go is I forgot.
Can't remember. What was it?
Or, well, at least I ain't to the point where I'm saying, who's next? Who's next?
The longest. Okay, it's listed on YouTube.
Sorry, just had to do it.
The longest Bigfoot audio in the world. Okay, I'll have to go back and check it out. Best I can remember, though, it sounded like this. Pull you up, Washington screams.
There is.
It just, I don't mean a copy of that, but it just sounded like, the same type of calls or vocalizations. Not the exact same vocalizations.
Yeah, I know.
Pull y'all up.
Pull y'all up. Pull up your pants.
Yeah.
That's what you say at the plumbers convention.
Like, I used to.
Pull your pants up.
I'm originally from Horse Cave, Kentucky, and used to, when you have to call up back during the mail order days before the internet, you would have to call someplace and order something and then have them send it COD or whatever. And they would always ask me, when I would give my hometown, I would say it's Horse Cave, Kentucky, and they would be like, "What? Horse's Cave?" Like, Okay, I'm from the Mammoth Cave region here in Kentucky. They name
So,
everything after a cave. Okay.
but before you all had internet, that was like 5 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah. Before Kentucky got it, yeah. Oh no, come on, man. We're right up there with the 19th century now.
Come on. High speed internet for Kentucky. You send an email by horse and cart. No, I'm just kidding.
They have improved. But there in the old days, we had the dial up, and then in the 90s, I was using dial up, and I used the internet before they had Windows. I used the internet during DOS, so you would get to get in there, and believe me, the internet used to be boring.
You know what happened before Windows, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of people sat in the dark.
Oh well, yeah. But
you
you'd have to get on.
All right, that was a good one, Stan.
You have to use your command prompt, type in stuff. I was in the Mammoth Caves in '86. Oh, Lays and Blaze, cool. We went there during an elementary school for a school trip, and I think I went back there about 20 years ago.
Oh, look at Sandwich Savant's comment about old internet. So all I have to say about that is, Sandwich Savant, if you ever get carpal tunnel syndrome, feel free to sue the internet. Anyway,
yeah, 56.
Think about it.
Dude, I started out, let's see,
Did Daniel Weeks ask a question? Because he just said, I'll wait. I don't know if he asked a question or not.
Let me look.
Hey, Daniel,
Sorry,
you asked a question and said, I'll wait. Just
you've missed it.
I'm sorry. Sandwich Savant, that's a pink hand, not a red or a rosy one, I should say.
I think Daniel was talking about he would wait 25 minutes. I think.
Oh,
that's what that was about.
Got it. Yep, totally. See,
Well,
we can be
anyway.
a family-friendly joke and still slip in an occasional dirty joke here and there. We get it right in it. Right in there. Remember that, Chris. Right there. Not there. There. All right. We are having a lot of fun here tonight. We got 15 minutes to go, so we might as well run this to the very end, damn it.
I thought we were going to get off early tonight.
No. Wait, whoa. Clean show, Chris. Clean show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Kentucky Internet. Mix of Kentucky Internet circa 2010. Empty bourbon bottles attached via strings.
And you notice I just slipped in another dirty joke, but that one went right over Chris's head.
Ignore them, Steve. This is family friendly. I'm trying to ignore it.
More cowbell.
Just like the acquired taste thing.
Oh, the last 15.
Yeah.
We will sit there with the. There you go. That's right. We got our tinfoil hat on. Anybody want to bring up any other topic?
Any conspiracy theories out there you want to discuss?
Theories? That's what this means is when we get the tinfoil hat, we'll talk about anything, especially Dogman.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, I feel like when I put this on, I feel like I'm a microwave emitter.
Oh, Lace and Blaze never get me in those caves again. Did not have a good experience at Mammoth Cave, man. I'm sorry to hear that.
Watch this. I got the tinfoil hat on, right?
Yeah.
Watch this. He's looking at me like I'm crazy.
Yes, he knows. You can't fool a dog. But aliens living under the ground. I don't think there's any aliens there. But now I did take my wife came here in 2003 from Thailand. And of course, I live in a tourist area because, we got Mammoth Cave National Park and yada, yada, yada. People come, I realize that people come from all over to go through and see the caves, and that's cool. But she had never seen it. So I said, well, okay, let's take you over here to Mammoth Cave National Park and take you on a cave tour. And we went through.
The moon isn't hollow, but it is made of cheese.
We went through the historic tour, which is what 99% of the people go on because it's only a few miles of walking underground. And we got to the part, maybe 1 mile in, where they turn the lights off and to show you how dark it is in the cave. Okay, there's no natural lighting, and without the light from the flashlights or torches or whatever, it's just completely blackness. It's dark. Well, at that point in time, and I'm sorry, Sandy, but I'm going to tell this, my wife passed out. She fainted. And, at this time, she weighed, roughly 90 pounds soaking wet. Okay. So I was able to, pick her up, and she was just like a wet noodle. She was just limp. I said, hey, you okay? Hey. Well, she came back around and she said, oh, I don't want to go on. I want to go back. So I had to carry her out for about a half a mile. And I don't think I could do that now.
That's dedication. That's dedication.
Yeah, I carried her out.
So, without being political, look at Daniel Weeks' comment. I thought that was hysterical. That was funny.
That's pretty good, Daniel.
Everybody is talking about what kind of cheese is the moon made out of now.
Well,
a lot of people are saying Swiss. What say you, Chris Bennett?
I don't know. I mean, I would say blue cheese because the moon has this kind of bluish hint.
It does, it does, and it does have a lot of craters, so it does look kind of like Swiss. So that's another good one. Mm-hmm. I say Famunda. Anyway, Gorgonzola maybe.
Gouda.
Gouda, yep. Mac and cheese. There you go.
Oh, you guys are killing me.
Jen with the big. Ooh.
Okay, now.
I got Chris laughing hard. You can tell.
I'm laughing too much. I'm starting to cough, and my face muscles are hurting now.
It's all fun and games until somebody loses a cheese ball.
Well, we were talking about UFOs the other day. I mean, do you think there's possibly UFO bases on the moon? What about the dark side of the moon? Could there be UFO bases there?
Well, let me just say this. It's kind of hard to get evidence on the dark side of the moon since we don't normally see it.
Right. Yeah. Well, my personal feelings about it, UFO bases on the moon is, unless they have Sasquatch, I'm not interested in them.
But there is a lot of quirky things about the moon that's unlike any other moon in the known in the solar system.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Well, I mean, it's
like for example,
one of the largest. Yeah.
Every moon rotates. Ours doesn't.
Yeah, it's kind of locked in. Yeah.
Right. Every other moon rotates, though. That's kind of weird. That is really weird. The moon, and Jen makes a good point up. There is a prevailing theory the moon could be hollow. That there are tremors on the moon that are recorded. That if something strikes the northern hemisphere, they feel it in the southern hemisphere as well. Yeah. Like there's nothing to absorb that shock. Like when we have an earthquake in the northern hemisphere, they don't feel it in the southern hemisphere necessarily because the crust, the mantle, and the core absorb that shock. but the moon doesn't do that.
Yeah, I think I read something about that one time. A theory that the moon was hollow.
Very weird. And they're still not quite sure how the moon was formed. Is it there's all kinds of prevailing theories. So a very interesting thing.
Well, yeah, I think, since it's made out of the same stuff the Earth is, I think it's probably, I'll go with the collision thing back during the early days of the solar system. We had a planetoid collide with the Earth, and the moon is the result of the blob that burst out. I'd go with that.
I don't know. A lot of mysteries to this galaxy that we have no idea to, which is the reason why we go down this path of the Sasquatch or the Bigfoot or whatever you want to call it, the Yeren Yeti, Yowie, Yahoo, or whatever you want to call it. That's the reason why we're here. And it is a mystery that has prevailed for centuries. That is confirmed by Native American legend. I say confirmed, but is originated in Native American legend. And even though the white settlers of the continental United States and North America may not have ever heard of these legends, but started to experience the same things as well, I find really fascinating. As an investigator, that's what got me into this.
You guys in the chat are killing me.
I know when we go off on a comedy tangent, boy, they just.
I'm not going to put that up, but if anybody's listening on the podcast, you want to go by the YouTube channel and read the chat. It's pretty good.
Wait! I saw 12 moons go by once. Strangest thing to see sticking out of a bus window. That's
I like astronomy. I like looking at the stars and looking at the planets and stuff. It's pretty cool. And used to, back during the old secondary and Western education days, I had an astronomy class there, and we had to volunteer to work at the local planetarium so many hours during the week.
Right.
And I really enjoyed my time there. Get to learn a lot. Plus, there's you can sit down and you can there's this one mode you can put the display on to where it like goes around the room and goes in a circle going up and down and makes you feel like you're on some kind of wild ride at the carnival. It's pretty cool.
It's a good point made up in chat. One would think that the person who came up with the term hemorrhoid should have came up with the term asteroid, shouldn't it? Just saying.
Makes more sense.
It does. But then again, who wants to be a proctologist? I mean, that's the kind of job you start at the bottom and you stay there. I just think.
Oh, yes.
There's no ladder to success in that job, that's for sure. Think about it. It's going to be like one of the worst jobs to ever have. I just never.
But what Jen's talking about, the moon, with it getting hit and then ringing like a bell. Yeah, that's indicative of something being hollow, and that's weird. That's weird. I would really like an explanation for that if we can ever get one. But it doesn't look like we're going back to the moon. Looks like we went there in '69 and then decided, well, okay, that's enough.
I mean, why don't you park? Questions we all want to know. Why don't you park on the parkway? Why isn't the freeway free? I don't get this. And why do you park on the driveway, but you drive on the parkway? Yes. Does any of this make sense?
Not really.
Anyway.
Oh, wow.
Anyway. Sorry, just had to do that. By the way, Chris, we're just about out of time, so why don't you take us out?
Yeah. Thanks, everybody, for coming in with us and joining us on Sunday night. We've had a great time tonight. we're so honored and thrilled and pleased and humbled that you guys would choose to spend your Sunday night with us. And it's always a pleasure to have you. You guys make the show. And, tonight, you've made the show. And I don't know what we'd do without you. This channel is only possible with you. And if you're new, it's the first time watching the stream, man, hit that subscribe button, smash the like button. If you hadn't already, smash it on the way out, and consider joining our membership. If you like what you see, we do try to keep honesty into the Bigfoot research, which it can get kind of crazy. We try to separate that. But we appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. You're the best audience we could ever hope for. And we appreciate each and every one of you. And thanks again for joining us.
Amen to that. And I want to thank everybody for sticking into us. Like I said, we kind of had a little meeting here about 8:20 tonight saying, should we have a show or shouldn't we? Yeah, let's just go down and hang out with folks and have a good time. Have a good time and have fun. And everybody hung in there, and I appreciate that. We love you guys. And we have a lot of great content coming up, of course. Always have a lot of things planned. We'll have the cameras running, of course, for the Sasquatch Whitehall, the Whitehall Sasquatch Calling Festival next Saturday, September 28th. Be there if you can. It's free. It's a free event. If you're in the Massachusetts, Vermont, New York State area, come on up. It's worth the drive. Come on out. Hang out with us for a few hours. Exchange some stories. See the casts. See the people. See the other people. We're going to have people like Brian Goslin out there. We're going to have Bruce Hallenbeck, the man who co-authored Monsters of the Northwoods. And we'll also have Paul Bartholomew out there. This is the book that got me started. You can't buy this book anymore, right? And then, of course, Bruce also wrote The Kinderhook Creature. He's going to be out there. Of course, you have some schmuck named Kulls out there who wrote a bunch of books too. Be out there peddling his books like the grifter he is. But other than that, we're going to have Mike Ann out there, Tactical Bigfoot Research. He'll be out there. He won't be selling anything. Maybe his soul. That's about it. But we're all going to be partaking to the woods. And if you're a member of this channel and you're one of our followers, hit me up when we're there. And maybe you can come along for the ride with us that night to have a little bit of an adventure or a misadventure or at least just a good campfire.
At least step out the booth and say hello.
That's right. Stop by, say hello. So we'll be doing that. We're going to be doing some other stuff going on too for the members. And I do have a video that's in the making. And we're going to be talking about the channel and how great it has been over the last year. And I'm really happy about that. So, folks, we will see you Wednesday night. And maybe we'll pull some of those audio files and we'll do a little review and a little storytelling there. So that ought to be a fun time, because I'll tell you what, some of those audios that I have are some of the most interesting audios I've ever gotten.
Pretty
and
cool.
that was just preceding all of the sightings that I had over the couple of years up there too. So that's going to be a fun time. So anyway, on behalf of me and Chris, I want to wish everybody a happy, good, safe week. We'll see y'all Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern right here on Squatch-D TV. We love you guys. Stay safe, keep healthy, God bless, and of course, keep on Squatch. We'll see you Wednesday night.
We thank you for being here with us on Squatch-D TV. If you haven't taken the time yet, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And oh yes, hit that notification bell too. We don't want you to miss anything. If you really like our content, you should consider becoming a member. And it's really inexpensive and a great way to support not only the show, but honest Bigfoot research. Everyone have a great week. Be safe and God bless. We will see you all here next time on Squatch-D TV. Keep on squatching.
Hold up, 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 up.